Hi everyone, I'm here in beautiful Surrey in the woods, and today we're going to be taking a look at this. Now, this was used during the Second World War as a training structure leading up to D-Day, mainly by Canadian troops, so let's take a look. Okay, so yeah, before I show you the wall, a bit about this woods here. So I'm in Surrey, near Farnham, and this woods is actually famously used as quite a lot in the area for filming, so TV and movies, things like that, which is really cool. I know they've done some of the James Bond films here, and in fact, when I was pulling up to the car park today, there was a security guard there, and so I sort of stopped to just let him know what I was doing. And he said that there's filming going on, so yeah, I'm keeping well out the way of the area where they're filming, but kind of cool. It's also an active training ground for soldiers, with the military in general still, as far as I'm aware, so you definitely have to be careful where you step in. In fact, just a moment ago I just saw I'll show you it in a minute, but a machine gun shell actually, so yeah, still very active here, as it was in the 1940s. So let's take a look at the Atlantic Wall. Okay, so first thing we've got here is actually a kind of plaque here describing what you're looking at. So the Atlantic Wall, I'll let you read that there, built in 1943 during the Second World War, so by Canadian troops as a replica of the German Atlantic anti-tank defences, which is really cool. Yeah, I mean, I've only just discovered recently this place, and it's a pretty awesome place, you know. So let's have another look further out. So let me just come out so you can just see the side here of the structure. That's pretty cool there. So you can see now we're on the side. You can see kind of an overview of some of the structure there. Obviously it goes back to over there as well, and you can just see, if we come up close, you can see like the rebar and the metal sticking out, which is kind of a sight you would have seen, you know, on D-Day. You think of when we think of D-Day, it's storming the beaches and so on. So yeah, there would have been a lot of this over there, and this is kind of what you would have been looking at. You know, you think of the bunkers and everything there they had, and like I say, the anti-tank defences. It would have just been a mixture of concrete and steel and everything like this, and yeah, that's pretty crazy. So this bit I'm actually standing in here, which is where I just showed you all the kind of rebar and metal and concrete and everything. There's kind of a massive gap in it, and I can only assume this is one of the areas they would have breached. I would assume with explosives. But there's a couple of them. It's kind of a walkway now, but yeah, I would assume this was breached with explosives to enable, you know, armour up the beach, even troops, because obviously they had natural sand walls as well that needed blasting through on them beaches. So this was used by Canadians. So the British and the Canadians were kind of in their own sector. Obviously everyone knows of like Omaha Beach and Utah Beach and things like that. You had like Sword and Juno Beach, which was sort of the British and Canadian sectors. So this was used for training for that side of things. And yeah, it's pretty crazy, really. You know, it's just here in the woods. But if you think about, yes, it just looks like some old concrete, yeah, you know, and slabs and stone and metal. It's easy to just walk past it and not think much. But if you think about, you know, rewind the clock to 1943, or when this was built, you think about what it was used for, and the historical value that this was used for training for D-Day, of all things. It's pretty remarkable. You can see again, we're back on the sides, just how imposing it is, really. I mean, as you just walk up to it, it's just, yeah, could you, you know, imagine coming up against or having to take out positions or obstacles of this magnitude. You know, it's pretty remarkable. It's just, look at it, massive. It's just absolutely solid. And obviously there's a lot of, I mean, obviously it's old now, but there's obviously a lot of concrete missing, and metal everywhere, which means it's been heavily used. You know, it fit its purpose, you know, which was training to destroy structures like this. So behind me here is the breach I was talking about. This is only assumed that's what this is. You can just see it's completely smashed, and there's a pathway coming through the middle. So yeah, I would assume this is where explosives they would have used, and they would have worked out the best way to get past these defences as quick as and efficiently as possible. Because when you're coming up them beaches and you've got gunfire, anti-tanks, all that kind of thing. I mean, one of the most important things really was to get your armor up on the beach, because you don't want it to just be your foot soldiers really on the ground. You need to get that armor up and secure that beachhead as fast as possible. So this would have been used as training to smash through this as much as possible. But there is a side there, and then the gap on the other side there. But while I was looking at this, I've just discovered some more structures just up the hill there, so I'm intrigued. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is the structure I found here at the top of the hill, which I would assume is just more of the same. It's hard to really to say. It's really overgrown up here, but it's pretty cool. You can see like the iron bars in there holding the structure together and stuff. But this is really taking a hammering. It's it's pretty beaten up, this one. Really overgrown, but it's pretty cool. So I'm going to have a walk along the top here to see if there's any more left of the structure, and then we'll make our way back down again. Okay, so further up from the wall, main wall being just over there, I've actually found more dragon's teeth. So I did a previous video on the some of the actual defences from Britain, or here in Surrey, part of the GHQ line, and these defences, I can only assume, would have been for training. So obviously the Germans had these defence blocks as well, which are anti-tank. As awesome as tanks are, when they come up against these, and these are quite small ones, but when they come up against these, they're great obstacles to stop tanks, even the smaller ones. So yeah, there's some of these here, which is pretty cool. So they would have trained against dragon's teeth here, and yeah, it must have been quite scary, the idea of going up against all these obstacles, no matter which side you're on. Like I say, I did a video previous to that, and yeah, there were some big ones, but these are a bit smaller, but they're great, and they do their job. But these are, yes, anti-tank defences here. So there's actually a lot here in the woods that's all overgrown. Pretty cool. Okay, so I've done a bit of exploring through the tree line now, just up from the actual main Atlantic wall, and yeah, we found some really good pieces there. So the structure at the top was really overgrown and destroyed, which was kind of the purpose, was to destroy it and be able to breach it. So and then I made our way along and come across some dragon's teeth. Like I said, I did a previous video on the actual dragon's teeth here in Surrey that would have been used as defence if the Nazis had invaded. Obviously that never came to be, but it's just a reminder of what potentially could have been. But these ones obviously here are used for defence, and you just think of the history and everything. Rewind the clock to the 1940s here in England, and now it's just pieces of just slabs in the woods that you would kind of just miss. There's not much to them really, but you think of the history and the training, and this area would have been covered in Canadian troops getting ready to make that all-important voyage over the English Channel. There's a lot of Canadian troops housed here in this part of the world, and yeah, it's just a real interesting piece of history. But yes, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Just had a bit of a look. I thought I'd take a look because I've never been here before. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and until next time.